color of suffering, when humanity is measured by skin. In a world that boasts about progress, democracy, and human rights, we are still chained to one of the most brutal and shameful truths of our time. Not all lives are treated equally. Not all suffering is acknowledged. Not all genocides are mourned. And what makes the difference? The color of your skin, the strength of your passport, the size of your market, and how close you stand to the thrones of power in Washington, Brussels, and London. Let's say it loud and without apology. If you are not white, your death means less. Your screams echo in empty halls. Your genocide is deemed complicated. Your tears are inconvenient. Your blood is too dark to shine on the covers of Western newspapers. The pain they choose to see. When war broke out in Ukraine, the world mobilized. Billions of dollars in aid poured in. Borders opened wide. The media covered every inch. Landmarks around the globe lit up in blue and yellow. Sympathy overflowed. Because the victims looked like us. Because they had light skin, Western lifestyles, blonde hair, and blue eyes. Because the narrative aligned perfectly with Western interests. But what about Gaza? What about the Congo, where millions have died in silence? What about the Uyghurs in China, locked in camps under 24-hour surveillance, their culture being wiped out piece by piece? What about the Rohingya in Myanmar, slaughtered and driven into refugee hell? What about the Hazara people in Afghanistan, hunted for their identity and beliefs? What about the Armenians expelled and erased? What about indigenous communities across Latin America, stripped of their land, their dignity, and their very existence? And what about Palestine, where an entire people are bombed, starved, imprisoned, and silenced? Where are the landmark lights now? Where are the urgent UN sessions? Where are the billions in humanitarian aid? Where are the hashtags, the protests, the media coverage, the outrage? A genocide in broad daylight. Gaza is not a conflict zone, it is a graveyard. More than 50,000 children have been killed or maimed. Entire neighborhoods flattened. Hospitals turned into tombs. Water supplies cut. Food blockades imposed. Civilians labeled as terrorists for daring to exist in their own land. And the world, led by the United States and the European Union, dares to call this self-defense. Let's be honest. If Gaza were a white Christian enclave, if the people looked more like the children of Europe, would this horror be tolerated for even a single day? Of course not. Because this is not about complex politics. It is about a hierarchy of human values. And brown bodies, Arab names, Muslim faiths, they don't meet the West's unspoken standard for compassion. The deadly double standard. How quickly the West acts when its own are threatened. Sanctions fly. Diplomacy ignites. Weapons are delivered overnight. Justice is demanded. But when it's black and brown nations suffering, the response is slow, hollow, conditional, if it comes at all. And always there's a reason. It's complicated. We need more information. We don't want to destabilize the region. Let's wait and see. No, what they really mean is, we don't care enough. They don't look like us. There's no profit in protecting them. This isn't diplomacy. It's institutionalized racism in foreign policy. It's genocide denial wrapped in press releases. It's moral bankruptcy disguised as restraint. They set the standard power and profit. Make no mistake, Western governments don't operate on values. They operate on interests. Their moral compass points to oil, weapons deals, markets, and strategic alliances, not to justice or humanity. That's why Palestinian deaths are tolerated. That's why Congolese resources are stolen while the people suffer. That's why the Uyghurs are ignored, because China is too profitable. That's why Rohingya genocide doesn't move them, because Myanmar is someone else's problem. To the US and EU, these aren't genocides. They're inconvenient truths that interrupt the flow of money and power, the voices they can't silence. But something is changing, because we see it. We see through their lies. We see through their silence. And we will not stay quiet. We won't let them erase the names of the dead just because their skin isn't pale. We won't let them set fire to justice and call it peace. We won't let them lecture the world about democracy while they arm apartheid and ignore genocide. We say, free Palestine, free Congo, free the Uyghurs, free the Rohingya, free the Hazara, free the indigenous, free all people suffering under the weight of colonialism, racism, and greed. Because the world doesn't need more fake diplomacy. It needs truth. It doesn't need more meaningless statements. Furthermore, it needs action. It doesn't need more aid with strings. It needs solidarity. Our humanity is not negotiable. This is our line in the sand. Either all people are human or none of us are. Either all lives matter or the phrase is an insult. History will remember who stood up and who turned away, who raised their voice and who cashed their checks, who refused to measure humanity in skin tone and bank accounts. We will not forget. We will not forgive silence in the face of genocide. We will not let racism write the story of who gets to live and who is left to die in the dark. The world is burning, but we still believe in justice, in equality, in the sacred worth of every life. And we say to those in power, your standards are a sham. Your values are for sale. But our humanity is not. We care. We fight. Not only that, but we stand. With Gaza, with Congo, with every forgotten person. Because a world where some lives matter more than others is a world already lost. And we're here to take it back.